I did used to be an ugly youth, for sure. They tried to make me feel like one. But I'm a sexy, sexy youth. Look at me. Anyway. Wow. Did you get into that Clipse album? You said that you didn't listen to it, which is disappointing. But why didn't you listen to the Clipse album, Corey?
I listened to a couple of the songs, but it's just been a very, very very busy week for me.
You know, what did you listen to? Let's start there. What did you listen to?
Let's see. A little bit of mixture. I kind of was running some scissor this week.
Oh
It was
my
it was a
goodness.
slower week for me.
All right, so this R&B ass nigga, he want to talk about that shit. I want to talk about this Clipse album, okay? Because let me tell you something. The real hip hop fans is being fed. All right, so be it. Ace of Trumpets, those being the lead singles on the joint, and then dropping Chains and Whips right before he dropped the album. Wow. The interviews, the Tiny Desk. Wow. No notes on the rollout. Clipse, we love you, okay? And those men love to sell crack, real bad. They love to cut it up, flip it, and reverse it. Okay. And then this Tyler album. Did you listen to the Tyler album?
I listened to about half of it. I like the "Stop Playing with Me" video. I was really feeling that.
Hey, look. Stop playing with him.
Playing with me.
Stop playing with him. Let me tell you something. The artistry that we are getting out of the hip hop community, the real hip hop heads, the hip hop OGs. Wow, you young niggas, you new niggas can learn a lot from that. I'm trying to tell you, okay? We're being fed, and this is a great soundtrack for the end of the world. Truly. But anyway, y'all, what's popping? What's popping? What's popping? It is your favorite, your most fantastic ruler. Okay, it's Miss Facts and Fire herself, Afeni Evans, and you are watching DHQ, your one-stop shop for politics, culture, and news. And we do indeed have a packed show for you. But before that, I implore you to go ahead and hit that like button. Okay, you see this makeup? Go ahead and hit that like button, okay, baby? Hit that subscribe button. We need to see you back. I know y'all don't be giving those out for free, okay? But maybe by the end of this episode, after we date a little bit, after we talk a little bit, we can lock in. You can subscribe, okay? And make sure you hit that notification bell, baby, so you never, ever, ever miss a thing because it's getting hot over here, just like it's getting hot in the streets, all right? So today, we're going to be talking about Palestine and Sudan. There is a deteriorating situation happening in both regions of the world, and so we really want to make sure we talk about that. We're also going to talk about our very own Alligator Auschwitz out there in the Everglades. We're going to get into our first brand new spanking concentration camp of the new fascist regime. But before we get into all that, let's talk about William McNeil Jr. and the Duval County Police Department. Okay? Because a man who was pulled over for his headlights being off in broad daylight got his window broken and got punched in the face. Not only did he get punched in the face through his window, they dragged him out of his car after breaking his window and proceeded to beat him up, okay? He walked away from that incident with a chipped tooth, over 9 stitches in his lips, a concussion, and short-term memory loss, like Dory, all right? So we have to be very honest about the fact that we are not surprised that the police are operating in this way. The police have always been a very violent entity. They started off being slave catchers, okay? From slave catching to beating up people for not having their headlights on seems like a pretty clear through line to me. All right. Let's be clear that this should not happen. Not for a headlight, not for a question, not for a regular traffic stop or just existing while black, driving while black. There is nothing that can truly justify the level of violence that this young man saw. But we have to be real about the fact that the police have never, ever, 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 ever seen black people as full human beings, slave catchers. Okay. And from this incident, let's be clear that there are policies that the police are supposed to follow. All right. If somebody requests to see your white shirt, your supervisor, they're supposed to stop the traffic stop and get that supervisor. They're supposed to bring that white shirt out there. Did that happen in this incident? No. They immediately escalated. There's also something within the police policies called the use of force continuum. Okay? The use of force continuum says that whatever level of force you're being met with, you're supposed to go one level over that. From the video, you can see this young man put his hands up. There was no force being exerted. He was simply asking what he is being detained for and not getting an answer after he asked for a supervisor to be present. Okay? So this is why we say defund the police. This is why we say defund the police. And we really dropped the ball in 2020 as a movement on really getting some wins, some tangible wins, and getting reallocation of money from the police department into real life-giving services. We dropped the ball on that real bad. But we were raised to believe that the police were the only form of safety that we have in this society, that in order to be safe, in order to de-escalate a situation, that we must dial 911. But the police come there with guns. They come there with a force, with the power differential that does not exist between community members. So anytime the police are called in a situation, it automatically escalates any situation that they are brought into. So we must shift our expectations of how we expect these systems to operate in our everyday lives. Because the police have shown time and time again that they only serve the rich and protect their private property. Slave catchers. They only serve the rich and protect their private property. If they were operating to venerate and edify slave owners before, why would they not continue to operate and edify the corporate owners of today? Let's be for real, y'all. Let's be for real. All right. And continuing in our police brutality news, one of the cops who was involved in the police murder of Breonna Taylor got 3 years in prison. 3 years for executing that unarmed Black woman in her home. Okay. So we look back at Rodney Hinton Jr. and we think, oh my goodness, brother, you went a little too far. Your actions were a little too extreme. But if Breonna Taylor can be sleeping in her house and get shot and murdered by the police, if William McNeil can be involved in a simple traffic stop and be brutally assaulted by the police and barely see justice, well, why are we looking at Rodney Hinton crazy for getting his back in blood? Because they protect their own, so why shouldn't we? All right. Now, let's get deeper into the fascist society that we are currently living in, because you know what? They are defunding NOAA outside, y'all. They're defunding NOAA. We ain't got no hurricane watch, no flood watch, no nothing. So every single day we have to be our own meteorologist, y'all. And guess what? I walked outside today. I put my finger in the air and I watched the wind blow. And guess what it said, y'all? It said that it is fascist as hell outside. All right? Because we have our first spanking brand new, super shiny concentration camp, Alligator Auschwitz, down there in the Florida Everglades, that was built in 8 days. 8 Gregorian calendar days. They were able to build this facility, okay? This facility is expected to cost $450 million per year to operate. So the next time they tell you that they can't build affordable housing, remember, they built a concentration camp in 8 Gregorian calendar days, okay? As of June 20th, more than 56,000 people across the country are spending the night in these detention centers. That is 40% more than June 2024 and is the highest detention population in U.S. history. Nearly 72% of those people who are detained in these types of facilities are not charged with any crime. They have no criminal history. So when you hear the tiny hand fascist and Pam Bondi with her bad bleach blonde hair, and you hear his ugly, ugly, ugly press secretary stand up there with her football playing shoulders, and they tell you that they are putting people in these detention centers who are committing crimes to keep our streets safer, remember that they're actually kidnapping people from graduations. Remember that they're actually kidnapping people from work. Remember that they're actually kidnapping people from court as they're going to get their freedom papers. Remember they're actually kidnapping people from hospitals as they're trying to get emergency care. 72% of the people that are sitting in these detention centers across the country have no criminal history. People from inside Alligator Alcatraz have said, Rafael Collado, who's a Cuban man, he said it is like a dog cage. There are up to 36 people per cell, packed in like sardines. This facility was originally made to hold 3,000 people. It is over capacity at this point, and people are getting limited access to showers because, again, NOAA's being defunded, y'all. We ain't hearing nothing about these floods. Flood water is inside of this facility. So there's mildew, there's black mold. These people are not getting access to their medications. And then on top of that, they are getting diseases because of all of the stale water that is around, because of the lack of access to showers, and because of the lack of access to real health care. And let's be so for real again. Let's be so fucking for real, y'all. If we can be anything in this lifetime, we should be fucking for real. There are absolutely American citizens sitting in these detention centers. People are being denied their due process rights and their human rights. There are absolutely American citizens sitting in these detention centers. So the Jamals that look like Jean-Pierre's, baby, you saw how they was acting up in Harlem now, little Haiti. Go ahead and get that foundational Black American shit up out of here, okay? The system is not differentiating, and we cannot mince words. This is a fascist escalation. This is a concentration camp. We cannot call it anything less because the crimes of the empire always come home, which is why we tried to warn you back in 2024 and late 2023 when we started to see concentration camps be erected in Palestine. Hey, if we manufacture consent for that to happen over there, then we are manufacturing consent for it to happen over here. And do not be fooled, people. If they did not need your consent to do these things, if they did not need your buy-in, if they did not need your confidence and your trust and your faith in the system, they would not spend so much time and money investing in the manufacturing of that consent. So when we talk about the crimes of the empire always coming home, when we talk about our fascism that is happening within our borders, we have to talk about the ways that it operates outside of our borders. Because right now, there are millions of people in Palestine that are facing starvation. Almost a third of the population have reached stage 5 on the scale of extreme starvation. And let's not mince words with this either. This is a politically motivated, intentional starvation of a group of civilians. A group of civilians, of people who's already been experiencing 77 years of oppression and land dispossession. They are being starved and bombed by bombs that are made here and paid for by our tax dollars. We tried to tell y'all that if we continue to let them murder civilians, if we continue to let them use our tax dollars to carry out the genocide in Palestine, to carry out the atrocities in Congo, to carry out the atrocities in Haiti, If we continue to let them do that there, then that brutality will be brought back here. Because let's be real, this country, this country is one of the main inception points of global brutality and violence. This forced famine that we are seeing, the shooting of innocent civilians as they try to go to distribution centers to get the food, pills being found inside of oxycodone, pills being found inside of flour, being found inside of these aid bags. There are all of the different ways that these people are being dehumanized and murdered. And it is all being not only live streamed to our phones, but y'all, we are paying for this with our money. Then we look at the situation in Sudan. 54% of the population in Sudan are facing acute food insecurity. And the Western-backed RSF, that is also being supported and paid for by our tax dollars, being trained by AFRICOM, that is being operated by our tax dollars, by military personnel that come from our country. So we can't say that this doesn't have anything to do with us, and we can't say that we don't have the power to stop this. Because, people struggle to see themselves outside of the system. We struggle to see ourselves outside of a world where genocide is happening. We struggle to see ourselves outside of a world where people are not being kicked off their health care, where women are not being able to access their full rights. We struggle to see ourselves outside of the construct of racialized capitalism because we have been conditioned to believe that this system is inevitable, that it has to be brutal in order for it to exist. And that is all a lie. It is a myth because all of this shit is socially constructed. Without our faith and our active participation, without the military personnel, the people that make up the U.S. military, without the people that make up the police force, without the people that make up the Israeli occupation force, without the people that are carrying out the politics and embodying this system, this is not possible. Because with public sentiment, nothing can fail. And without it, nothing can succeed. And let's be fucking clear. Nothing, including this empire, is too big to fail. The problem is we are failing to provide an alternative vision to what currently exists. Here on the left, we are spending so much time in a space of reaction that we cannot get to a place of creation. We need to react to what is happening. Yes, we need to form political opinions. We need to build political analysis around the events that are currently happening. We cannot escape the reality of that. But we also need to realize that there is an alternative reality that we are responsible for creating. There's an alternative culture that we are responsible for cultivating, for stewarding, for enacting, okay? People need to trust that on the other side of this movement, on the other side of all this yap, that they'll be able to access real safety, actual dignity, and full belonging. Because at the crux of it, as human beings, that's all we're really looking for. And the capitalist system tells us that our safety and our belonging, that our dignity can only exist if we subjugate other people in order to get it. Our comfort needs to be built on the backs, on the global south, and the acquisition of their resources. We need to be able to build trust in community because just like this system that was built decade by decade, day by day, thought by thought, idea by idea, action by action. Trust is built intentionally, brick by brick. And we can have a better world. We just need to be brave enough to enact it. We need to be brave enough to imagine it. We need to be brave enough to embody it, to build it, and to fucking protect it. Because the white supremacists, they have created and imagined and enacted and embodied their system. They have also gotten all of us to create and embody and enact their systems. So if it is possible for us to be in a society like this one, it is completely possible for us to create another. Because this capitalism shit, this feudalism shit, that's new. This American white supremacy shit, that is new. This Western dominance, this dominance of the global minority is new. The 6%, they had a very good plan, okay? And guess what? We gave them the platform, and we continue to give them the platform every single time we continue with business as usual. There are many horrible things happening in this society. And there is a concerted effort to demoralize you, to overwhelm all of us with these atrocities, to place us in a paralyzing fear. And in order for us to create our better world, we cannot let them take our joy. We cannot let them remove us from our humanity, because we are the tether to our new world. Our connection to each other is our connection to the new society that we are trying to build. We are the battery in this system's back, and we have the power to rip that battery out. We can embody a politic that brings forth a society that actually gives us life, that returns us to abundance and brings forth sustainable safety. A condition, a society that uplifts us, that uplifts the best part of us. Because the current system has conditioned us to believe that only the worst of society can succeed. And we have the power to prove them wrong. I guess I'm saying all that to say that what's happening in Palestine is not inevitable. What's happening here in America with the rise of fascism is not inevitable. But Black people, Indigenous people, our customs, our ways of being, those things are inevitable, they're perpetual, and those are the things that we need to return to. Those are the things that will show us the path to our new world. So I guess I'm saying all that to say, stop being a bitch. Stop being scared, because we can do this. We are the power, period. Okay? So, thank you so much for tapping in with us here at DHQ. If you felt something, say something. If you're grieving, if you're mourning, say something in the comments. If you're joyful, go ahead and leave that there too. Make sure you like the video. Them likes get us pushed up in the algorithm, and subscribe to the channel, because I'm sure after this conversation, you ready to be locked in. Oh yeah. And hit that notification bell, because the culture never sleeps. And neither do we. Peace. Love you. Bye.